Hi everyone, my name's Felix. You might remember me from MasterChef Canada Season 5 where I made the top 14. Today in this video I want to show you guys a few hacks that will really help you succeed in baking. Today I'm going to bake some whole wheat bread that I'm going to use to make a swirl for French toast tomorrow morning. And I'm really hoping that these few hacks will help you succeed and be more successful in making bread, because it's the #1 complaint that I have about making homemade bread is that people are like, oh, my dough didn't rise, blah, blah, blah. And I really feel like most of the time the reason why bread fails is because people, A, think it takes way too long, B, they don't do simple little tricks that can really help you make sure you have the most successful bread possible. So, the first hack I have for you today is use ceramic and glass, because what we're going to do is we're going to utilize heat to make sure we have the most successful product. We're going to make our yeast in here, and we're going to mix it all in here. By warming up both of these to like a lukewarm temperature, you'll have more success. Remember, when making bread, lukewarm is your friend. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to heat up our oven and place these inside. Here's my oven. I'm just going to hit bake, bake. I'm going to hit bake. I'm going to hit start, and I'm going to put these in right away. 2. And as that heats up, I can get to the other things I need to do in order to make the most successful bread, which is what is going to happen right now. Now that my bowl and my measuring cup are warming up in the oven, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a part of the liquid base that's going to go inside. In here, I have about a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, and I'm just going to take some cream. I have 10% cream here that I use for my coffee. You can use milk. Lots of people use milk. Sometimes I use whipping cream. It's kind of like whatever I have in the house. The higher fat content will equal like a more, depending on how much you put in, of course. It's all about that wonderful measuring science, but fat generally equals softer. So the higher fat, the softer it can be depending on how much flour you put in. So I'm just going to eyeball this. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it up about halfway to the butter there, and then I'm going to place this on the oven on a low medium, so 3 or 4, and let that butter melt. Well, I'm going to let that butter melt, and once it does, I'm going to add about a good dollop of honey to sweeten this up a bit. So now we're going to make our yeast. So the glass is going to heat up faster than the ceramic. So this has been sitting in the preheating oven for about, mine takes about 4 minutes, but everybody's oven is different. If the glass is so hot that you can't touch it, it's no good. It's going to burn your yeast and it's going to kill it. Inside of here I have lukewarm water that I'm now mixing with a forkful of honey. I use all natural honey that's locally sourced from here in Nova Scotia. I happen to buy from Smeltzer, so if you live in the area, that's the stuff. They are amazing. I took my yeast out of the fridge about a half an hour ago for this. Warm yeast, warm water equals better product. If you take it out and it's cold, you have the chance of it dying on you when you put it in there. So I have, this is a tablespoon, so 1, 2, and a schmutz. So, put that aside. I'm going to give this a spin with the fork, like that. You want to dissolve it as much as you can. It doesn't really dissolve. They're like, dissolve it completely. It never happens. And it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. I find that I still get really good results. I'm going to just give that one of those. My finger's right in there. Now I'm just going to leave this like this, nice and warm. Now watch that. Okay, warm bowl. We've got flour in here that I'm warming up by swirling it around inside the bowl. Remember, lukewarm is your friend, right? So I've got a nice hefty pinch of salt, maybe even a little sploosh of that there. Move it out of the way. We want everything to meet everybody. All right, I got some brown sugar over here. put in, because I want my bread to be nice and sweet. This is for breakfast. This is going to be for French toast. And some cinnamon. And again, we want to have everything meet everybody. Hi, how you doing? Starting to smell like breakfast even. Maybe even a little Christmassy if you're nasty. So, everybody's met everybody. I got an egg. There we go. My fork from my yeast. I'm just going to give it a loose mix up like that. We are going to see how much that puffed up. Look at that. We're going to give this a spin. And we're going to give it a dump. I've got a spatula over here to get it all out. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to make sure that that's not too hot. So in here I got my milk, my butter, and my honey. It's all nice and melted. Oh, I guess I should probably give this a bit of a stir. Look. Whoop. Dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum. Just like that. We're going to pour this in. Now, I'm broke. I know a lot of people out there are broke and they think, oh, I don't have a mixer, da-da-da-da-da. You don't need a mixer. I actually prefer the fork. I have a better sense of the consistency when I use a fork. I can feel it through the fork. It's like driving a car. Well, a shift stick, I should say. You feel it. And that's how I know. See how tight it is? That's not what we want. We actually want more, like a goopy mess. So I'll just go and get some water. And we'll just keep on keeping on. I put too much flour in, I dare say, and not enough liquid. Lesson learned. See? Even people who end up on things like Master Chef can mess up. But this is still usable. It's not like I'm going to throw it away. You just have to incorporate more ingredients. And it's not like this is together in a dough. Like, that's obviously not dough. So I'll just grab some more flour. Like this. And I know you might be thinking, but didn't you just say that, oh, it's not coming together and it's too tight and da-da-da? It is sticky, though, and I need to work it. And frankly, when I put it back in this nice warm bowl to rise, this excess flour will make it so it doesn't stick so bad to the sides. So, now that I have that incorporated into a Play-Doh-like substance, scoop some of this out onto the table, and now we're going to knead. So it's fold and push. Spin, fold, push. And that's all we're doing. And so, our hacks are warm, warm, warm. Lukewarm is your friend. Warm up your vessel. Warm up your yeast. And then you'll end up with great looking dough. We'll come back in a few minutes. And by a few minutes, I mean like internet few minutes, which will actually be about an hour and a half. And you'll see how much this has risen. I'm going to put it back in here, just like that. And I'm just going to cover this. What I like to do, this is another good hack for all y'all, so it doesn't stick to the top. I'll put parchment paper and then a wet towel. And if you are like most people, that warm oven, make sure it's not like scalding hot. You're going to turn it off, put your bowl back in, and let it rise in there. But myself, I have a wood stove, so I'm going to go put it in the wood room. I'll see you guys in about 3 internet seconds. Alright, so we're back now, a couple of internet seconds later. This sat in there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know, that people are like, oh, I gotta sit around. It's not like you're watching it. You just put it where it needs to be. Maybe you check on it once, and you leave it alone. Biggest advice with letting bread rise is just leaving it alone. I watched some television, I drank a coffee, you know. Some people have a bath, sometimes I drink a beer, sometimes I go fishing, like, not a big deal. So let's see how it looks. If this turns out to be, like, not have risen at all, I'm gonna cry. Boom! Alright, so she's squishy now. I read in a book, imagine that one of the best things you can do, you know how we traditionally do the punch? It's actually better to do a fold. So I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to internet magic that a little bit. So because whole wheat flour is so much more dry and a little bit more coarse than your regular white flour, I'm just going to dampen this a little bit because I see that there's a lot of it here. See? And I'm just going to go like this and like this and a fold and back again. And now I'm just going to leave that for 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, I'm going to get some butter melted, unsalted, get my sugar ready and my cinnamon, because we're going to roll this out and make it into a square to make into our loaves of bread. Okay, so we've let this sit. It's nice and squishy. That's what we want. This is floured up. Now, I'm not too worried about these little creases and stuff because I'm just rolling this stuff out. So, boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to end up turning it over. So, it's kind of like, what do I care? So, let's get this going. So, I actually want this to be a little bit, what am I trying to say? I want this to be a little bit longer than it is wide, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down pretty hard on the edge to get a nice thin lip on it. And you'll see why in a minute. This is a technique I actually use when I'm making my cinnamon rolls as well. Okay, I've got melted butter. I'm really just gonna do this, one of these, and we're gonna spread it across the whole kit and caboodle here. Now, I'm going pretty traditional today only because I'm having a craving for tomorrow, which is I really want whole wheat cinnamon. I really want whole wheat cinnamon swirl bread. But, I mean, what do you like? Do you like cloves? Do you like nutmeg? I'm going strictly with cinnamon and sugar because that's what I personally like. But by all means, I mean, baking should be fun and it should taste the way you want it to taste, right? So, don't hinder yourself. Don't think, oh, I have to do it this way just because I say so. So now we're going to smear this sugar on here. And what I'm going to do is come all the way down right to that edge, just like this, because I want that center to be sugary, sweet, and full of cinnamon. So I don't really go out all the way to the edges because I want it to stay contained inside. Now, when it comes to this, I'm a fan of the cinnamon, so I'm going to put lots of cinnamon right on that edge. Cinnamon, cinnamon, cinnamon. Now, I still have some butter left over because as I'm rolling this, I'm going to be putting some butter on. So, like right here, just a little bit like this. It's going to help it keep it all together, and it's going to keep that sugar nice and caramelized on the inside. Yeah, I'm a singer. Normally I have the 80s playlist going on from Spotify when I'm baking or cooking, but because I want this to be able to go up on YouTube, none of that. Boom, boom, boom. And a final roll. And I'm going to push down on that crease. So this is not going to be the whole thing. That's a really big log. This is probably one of the best things I've ever bought in my life. It has measurements along the side here. It's got measurements along here in centimeters, and it's got a rubber edge, which makes it really easy to get your dough out of bowls, but also to scrape the bowl afterwards, which is awesome. So cutting edge, measurements, rubber. You can get this at any one of those cooking stores like Stokes. So, boom, done. So this is the log. This is the log. Now I have 2 loaves of cinnamon swirl bread that I'm going to bake up in my... So these are fairly well greased, and I'm going to put my bread in here, and I'm going to give it a push down, like so, and I'm going to do it again over here, with a push down, a little push, like that, and again, I'm going to let this rise for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and now I'm going to go walk the dogs. Alright, see you later. The other great thing about this is that it makes my cleanup super easy. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Scrape, scrape, in the hand, and done. Okie dokie, we have the oven on 350 warming up. These have been sitting for about an hour. You can see that they've really filled in. And what we're going to do now is I've got an egg wash here, so it's 1 egg beaten with just like a tablespoon of water. And I'm just going to lightly coat this bread because I always like to put a little oats on the top, and it's going to give me a nice crusty finish and that lovely gloss that you see. So extra crunchy top and glossy. Who doesn't love that? I mean, come on. So here we go. Boop, boop. Now, as you can see, I'm not dumping it on because the egg, if it gets down into the sides, it does make it difficult to get it out. The bread out, I should say. But I'm going to score it after I bake it anyway. So, I mean, it's 6 1/2 dozen in the other, but if it gets all the way to the bottom of the pan, like, it could be a nightmare to get out. So that's why I'm not, like, just, like, globbing it on like I did with the butter earlier. And then it's, you know, just like with salt, just over the top. Do-do-do-do, like that. Now, as you can see, I didn't score any of this to allow for expansion, but that's because the wheel inside allows for that already. So I'm going to put these in the oven for about 40 minutes at 350 roux. Here we go. Our bread is out of the oven, looking good. Give it a score. I got sugar coming out the wazoo over here, which is fine. Looks like it's going to come out nice and easy. Oh yeah. Cooling rack over here with the parchment paper for the excess sugar. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that loaf. So I hope you liked my video on how to make cinnamon swirl bread. It's delicious. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at FMFudge. And on Twitter, it's just Felix Fudge, at Felix Fudge. And I'm on Facebook. If you're looking for personalized lessons, or if you are curious for me to make something or show you how to do something, just email kindnesskitchen31@gmail.com. I also do catering. And on May 25th and 26th in Dartmouth, there will be at the parish church a pop-up. I'm going to be there doing just a taste, and I'm going to be having delicious foods for everybody to try. I hope to see you all there. Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. All right, you guys, I got to get out of here. I got other things to do. Look for more videos every Wednesday by Felix Fudge. Kindness in the Kitchen. Be kind to one another.